Okay, here is a tutorial for finishing up the ears on the Lola Hat. And right here I have the baby size. So what it says in the pattern is to measure 2 inches for the baby size from each corner. So here's my ruler. 2 inches, that would be right here. 2 inches on this side gives me about right here. So between these 2 points, we're gonna make, this is gonna be the imaginary line that the diagonal goes on to make the ear. So let's start, we'll start with this side right here. 2 inches, and I have my scrap piece of yarn and I already threaded it through the needle. And it also says in the pattern that the yarn needs to be about 1 foot long. That doesn't need to be exact because you're just gonna cut off a bunch of extra at the end. Just make sure it's long enough so you have enough to work with. Okay, so let's start. 2 inches here will be about this point right here. I'm gonna take the needle and find a loop on the outside where I measured and pull it all the way close to the end. All right. So now that was our starting point, so our ending point is going to be on the opposite side, 2 inches from the corner. So if you can, it's gonna look, that's the diagonal that we're going for. We wanna end up 2 inches. So you can leave your ruler across the top to kind of give you a reference to where you're trying to get to. So now the yarn is coming out the back. You have your needle, and we are going to, along this imaginary line again, we're going to put the needle through twice. We're gonna put a hole here, and that's, I said in the pattern too, it's in thirds. We'll put a hole 1/3 of the way, and then 2/3 away, and then we'll be at our ending point. So imagine, let's find a spot along our imaginary line that is 1/3. I think it's right here. I'll just hold my finger here. And since the yarn's coming from the back, get the needle, kind of touch your finger and see, and then pull it up through. So we are, let's check, we're still on our way to our line, to our ending goal of 2 inches. All right, looks good so far. So I'm gonna take the needle and poke it through the back now, about 2/3 of the way from the starting point. Still going along our imaginary line. I think it's right there. Let's try that, put it through. Okay, still, we're doing good. And now you can see the yarn is ending at where the 2 inch point is. Let's find that. And I'm gonna, like we did in the beginning, just find a small loop on the outside of the hat to bring the yarn up through the back. Okay, so that's it for poking holes through the hat. So you can see it'll slide around. Make sure you have enough on each side. All right, take the needle off and thread the needle back on the tail that you started with. What we're gonna do now is tie this off completely and anchor it so it's not gonna move. So if you turn this to the side, we're gonna make a knot and just find a loop that's very close to where the yarn is and make a knot and pull it tight. Okay, so that's not going anywhere. Now what you should do, you still have it on the needle, poke it through to the inside of the hat so it's hidden. Okay, and you can take the needle off. Now, since that first part is anchored, let's put the needle back on the ending of the yarn. In this part of the hat, so what we're gonna try to do is now anchor the other side. But before you do that, you can give it a little pinch. In this part, you can pinch it as much as you want. This is to make the ear hold its shape. Some people like to pull it completely closed to make a tight ear. I like, and this is just preference, just make them even. I like to just give it a slight fold so it's a little definition but not super tight. So I'll go, that looks good to me. So now we're gonna tie it off. So keep it pinched so the yarn doesn't slide around. You wanna keep it where you pulled it tight. Take a loop into the needle and a loop on the outside. We're making another knot. Okay, put the needle through a little bit. Take the end, wrap it around. You can make a knot however you want as long as it's just gonna stay. Okay. I'm all tangled. Pull it tight. All right, so same as we did before. Oh, that was good. So needle is still on. Let's take this end and push it somewhere through, probably where it came out. Push it through the inside so the ends aren't sticking out. So if you, well, the ear is done now, but if you want to look, just to finish it up, flip it inside out, you still have these two strands hanging. You can trim them, you can tuck them into some of the stitches here, whatever you like. If you're not as tight, you can just trim the ends and they'll stay. All right, that is finished.